Hmm. I got a little bit of a beam up on it. We're going to watch a video real quick so you guys can have an understanding of the context of what we're going to be talking about in this video.
You put garlic and onion together?
Yes.
Oh, see, where I come from, Napoli,
Yeah.
we don't do that.
Well, this is America, honey. And we cut corners.
Can we be honest here? I've been cooking Italian food. I wrote 16 cookery books and I still live in Italy.
And I'm 83 years old and I've been cooking long before you were born.
So shut the
So
fuck
there.
up.
You put garlic and onion.
Yep. Shut the up. And you know what? Like Gordon Ramsay, credit where credit is due. Like he appreciates good food and recognizes good technique, where it is. He's not an elitist about it. He very much with some exceptions, is very much okay with like cross-cultural, blend when it comes to food. Because that's what you have to be, especially when you're in America. So why did I show you this? I've seen in the wake at time of recording, Keith Lee was in the UK, in London, and the Brits have been fighting for their life over it. You can tell now how long my backlog is. But that being said, one of the things it reminded me of is that a while ago, Italians were shitting on Italian Americans and Americans in general for how we made our Italian food, and the thing about American Italian food is it has roots in, original Italian cuisine. Like, for example, right? Like look here, we have like big old stuffed shell filled with cheese. We have like lots of meat, lots of tomato, onion and garlic and all of this being put on, things of that nature. And here's the thing you've got to remember, right? Like when it comes to, this, you have to remember that the best food that has been created through the human experience is through the ingenuity of those in poverty. Italian food is a prime example of this. What did these people have regular access to? Wheat, eggs, milk. Wheat, eggs, milk. And so they would maybe turn the milk into cheese. They would use every single piece of all of these things to make food. That's how you get cacio de pepe, cream and pepper pasta. You get, campagnara. You get cheek fat of pigs. Now remember, guanciale, which is the pig cheek, is an expensive meat now. Back then, it was the detritus. It was the scrap, So, a lot of Italian food that has been created and that is still eaten today in Italy are foods that the techniques and the ingredients of which are those made of survival. A lot of the food in America is similar in the way, but here's the key story that people forget. When Italian Americans, and by the way, this is true for any single immigrant that moves from a less less wealthy country to America in terms of like access to food, access to assets and stuff of that nature. Even in the early 20th century, where the wealth disparity was vast, and things like refrigeration and stuff weren't all there, you have to remember that the logistics in America and the how far your dollar could get you was a lot more per ounce of food compared to back in the mother country. So you get Chinese people, Vietnamese people, Korean people, Italian people, Spanish people, Greek people, all coming to America and realizing they have access to ingredients that were considered luxuries back home. To bring it back to the Italians, for example, lots of meat was considered a luxury, especially things like, you know, cow tenderloin, cow ribs, things like just like lots of, pieces of meat that were usually exclusively, the purview of like the wealthy and the powerful were now more available to people of lower classes. And so what you get is you get a bunch of Italian immigrants. You get an Italian man and woman who immigrate over, they married in the mother country, they decide to move to America, and they settle in their little tenement shack. Guy gets a job make like for, pennies a day working at the local, workhouse or whatever. And they come home, and even with the, abject poverty wages that they were being paid, they were able to get meat, more meat than they ever really had meaningful access to back in the mother country. And so this is where you get to these like large, like ridiculously huge chicken parmesanas, your large meatballs, your like, your very meat heavy bolognese sauces, and this is where you get a lot of tomatoes too, because tomatoes were more plentiful. Fundamentally, at the end of the day, they took the techniques that they learned, like these women, Italian women, took these techniques that they learned in the mother country and quite literally would, take these ingredients that were considered luxuries and incorporate them together in ways that they never in their wildest dreams thought that they would have. Think about it this way, right? It's like they're not thinking about, oh, I need to keep the authenticity of this food and all that. They don't give a fuck about that. These two Italian Americans who like, these are two Italian immigrants who have been in America for like 5, 6, 7 years. They've got 2 or 3 kids, at the table, and they're just like, yes, times are hard. Yes, we're struggling. Yes, 2 of my 3 children are working at the same factory as me, but you know what? Like, they get to experience luxury that I never got to have at any point in my life before I moved here. They don't get to go, they don't get to, learn how to be hungry and survive on just noodles and maybe some cheese. You know, I have an anecdotal story I want to share with you. My um ex-girlfriend's friend, her mom is Korean, and when she moved over to this country, this is an anecdotal story I heard from, somebody on that side. Um, when she moved over here, like, yeah, like a lot, like she changed a lot of her recipes. She really liked beef, and she cooked with a lot of beef, even though beef was not something that was very common in a lot of Korean food. And, fundamentally, at the end of the day, I understand the desire to sort of hold on to like your an ancestral tradition. You have to remember that even as those types of, recipes and stuff change with time, the act of cooking for loved ones and having them over every week or every 2 weeks for a family dinner, if nothing else, that at the end of the day is the true spirit of the American immigrant, of making time for family and, doing acts in service to others. Yes, Italian, pasta might like recipes might be very different from those in the motherland, but at the end of the day, who gives a crap? We have what we have available over here, and we have, and many Italian Americans to this day have their own traditions. Are a lot of them now, a lot of the men schmarmy Sopranos knockoff wannabes? Sure. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not a fan of classism. I'm not a fan of elitism. And there's a lot of these dipshits on TikTok and on YouTube and on the internet in large judging my fellow Americans for how they cook their food, even though how they cook their food quintessentially, undeniably has root to the motherland. And just because we season our food better doesn't mean y'all you have the right to be classist about it. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at himedia.gg/discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at himedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity is a blessing, and $1 a month is a boon to my mental health. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you, and have a great day.